We're counting down to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's state visit to the US. There's a lot on the schedule. The Prime Minister will attend a state dinner. He will also address the US Congress. There are events tailored for the cameras, very high on symbolism. But those may not be the high point of this trip. That could be a defense deal. The US and India are expected to sign an agreement on jet engines. Reports say it's close to the finish line. What exactly is in the deal? Well, two parties are involved, like in most deals. General Electric, which is a US multinational, and Hindustan Aeronauticals Limited, HAL, which is an Indian defense firm. The deal is basically joint production. GE will transfer technology to HAL. HAL will then produce the engines in India. They could be used on the homegrown Tejas jet. But what's in it for both sides? For India, of course, the gains are tangible. Your domestic defense industry gets a big boost, which means more jobs, more cutting-edge technology. India can replace its aging fleet of jets. And what's in it for the Americans? Well, a defense deal with India. The US has been trying to reduce India's dependence on Russian arms. Historically, most Indian equipment has been Soviet or Russian. So this is a big change. Washington will see it as a sign of deepening relationship. Now, to be clear, this is a major shift for both countries. In the past, the US has refused to share critical technology with India, like GPS during the Kargil War. India needed it. The Americans refused. Same with nuclear submarines. Washington repeatedly refused to help India. In the end, New Delhi had to turn to Russia for the subs. The jet engine falls in the same category. It is highly advanced and critical technology. Only 4 countries have aced it: the US, Russia, France, and the UK. Even China buys jet engines from Russia. So sharing this technology requires jumping through a lot of hoops. The Commerce Department must clear it, the State Department must clear it, the Pentagon must clear it, and finally, the US Congress must approve it. Only then can jet engine technology be shared. Now, American officials seem confident that all of this will be done. In fact, that's one reason US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan visited India. He was in New Delhi this week. He spoke very specifically about removing obstacles to technology transfer. Listen to what he said.
As we look ahead to the state visit that Prime Minister Modi will be embarking upon in Washington next week, along with Ajit Doval and a significant delegation from India, a number of the deliverables at that visit are not just bullet points on a page. They are fundamentally designed to remove those obstacles in defense trade, in high-tech trade, in investment in each of our countries, in taking away obstacles that have stood in the way of better collaboration among our scientists and researchers.
So I guess the old wariness is gone. The US now wants to share critical tech with India. And it's not just engines, not just jet engines. Yesterday, we told you about a drone deal, how the US was urging India to clear it. New Delhi has done that now. The Defense Acquisition Council has given its approval. The deal is likely to be announced during the Prime Minister's trip. We don't have the specifics, but reports say 30 Predator drones for $3 billion. That's what India is looking at. What explains this American eagerness? This U-turn from the last decades. In 2 words, geopolitical realignment. The US needs India on 2 fronts. First, to contain the challenge from China, and second, to isolate Russia further. And that wasn't the case for most of the 20th century. And it's not just the US. Other Western countries are also joining in. Earlier this month, Germany struck a deal with India. ThyssenKrupp will jointly make submarines with India's Mazagon dock. All of this is good news. Relying heavily on one seller is not ideal for any country. In 2022, around 45% of India's arms came from Russia. 5 years back in 2017, this was 62%. So you can see the shift here. India has been gradually reducing Russian imports. The Ukraine war will likely speed that up because A, Russia's weapons deliveries have slowed down, and B, their effectiveness is in doubt. Having said that, let's be clear about Washington's endgame. It's not some noble effort to help India. It's a self-serving policy. So how should New Delhi plan this out? The ultimate goal should be self-reliance, to build these critical technologies yourself. Until then, such defense deals are a big help. They will boost India's domestic production. They will also help us prepare for the China challenge.